Right, so first of all, congratulations. I'm assuming you've come to this video because you are a first-time mum and you're pregnant, so that's the most amazing news. I can't imagine how you're feeling, but congrats to you. So I'm assuming you're first-time mum because if you've already had children, you probably already know what to expect unless it's been a while. Things do change really fast. I know people who've had babies like 3 years ago that had completely different experiences to mine, but this is 2017 now, and I just wanted to let you know what to expect at your first midwife appointment, because I know as soon as I was pregnant I was like, now what? I've no idea what to do next, because no one tells you these things, and you know, if you've never had a baby before, you've never had a baby before. There's no experience like it, and there's no way of knowing what to do unless you're a midwife yourself already, or if you've had a really close friend or sister or someone go through the same thing. So here I am. If you haven't got a sister or a really close friend that's done it, I'm going to be that person for you and let you know what to expect. So first off, you need to make an appointment with your GP. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. First things first, you need to make an appointment with your GP. This is just for a referral. My appointment was like in and out, 5 minutes. It was a bit disappointing, to be honest, because I was so excited and I wanted to know like everything. But the GP just basically is referring you to a midwife. It took about 10 minutes. Be prepared to be asked about your last period and when it was, because you may not know. I didn't realise this initially, but I'm sure most people probably know, it's probably just me, but they actually date your pregnancy from your last period, so it's not actually from conception. They class conception as when your egg was released, whereas really you will have conceived when you are ovulating. So they add on 2 weeks basically before actual conception. So if you don't know the date of your last period, try your best to go through your diary, go through your calendar and work it out. Obviously if you're trying and you know when you're ovulating and everything, that won't be a problem. But if you aren't sure when you got pregnant and you haven't been tracking your periods, that's something you want to think about. You don't need to know exactly the day, it'll just help you out. You're going to find out anyway at the dating scan, which is your first scan, exactly how big your baby is, and then they'll work out your due date from there, because some people, even if they are tracking their periods, can get it wrong. But be prepared to be asked about that at your first GP appointment, so have that information ready. And other than that, GP is not going to do much. Mine didn't even do a pregnancy test, so I half was doubting whether I was pregnant or not until my first scan, which is silly because I definitely was pregnant. So they'll refer you then on to the midwife. So I would say before your midwife appointment, there is a little bit of prep you need to do. You need to speak to your family, if possible. Speak to your parents, grandparents. I haven't got any grandparents left, so I couldn't really speak to them. But if you can, just gather some information on your medical history, family medical history, because you will get asked quite a lot of in-depth questions about that. And if you've never thought about it before, or if you've never spoken about it before with your family, you can be quite stumped. But they will want to know a medical history of your family and yourself. You can take your partner if you like. I did take Peter with me to my first midwife appointment because I was so excited and I wanted him there with me. You don't have to take your partner. You can go alone. That's absolutely not a problem. They might ask you some of his medical history as well, especially if you've had problems in yours. They may ask about the fathers. They didn't ask Peter a lot of questions, but there was a few. One of the funniest questions they did ask us was, are we related? I don't know whether that's just something our midwife asked, but she said she'd been told to ask if we were related. We are not related, just because that can cause problems. Also, they may be prepared for them to ask about any domestic abuse. Obviously, if your partner's sat there, they're not likely to ask. If you're on your own, they may well ask that. It's part of like the guidelines today, just to give you a safe space to tell someone if you are being abused at home, because obviously that could affect your baby. It's all about the health of the baby. No one's judging you, no one is trying to catch you out. They just want to know the health of the baby, because forewarned is forearmed. So if you are a heavy smoker, let them know. If you haven't realised you're pregnant and you've been heavily smoking throughout the beginning of your pregnancy, then let them know. Don't be embarrassed. They just need to know the starting point so that they can work out the healthiest way forward for you and your baby. So yeah, they may ask you about domestic abuse. Now's the time. If you are being domestically abused, I would advise you to use that opportunity to speak up about it, because nothing is more important than the safety of your child. And obviously there are helplines for that. I haven't got personal experience of that, so I'm not going to patronise you and pretend I know anything about it. I'm just going to say to you that you will be asked, and hopefully you'll take that opportunity to speak up. If you're not, then that's fine. You just say, no, everything's fine at home. What else will you be asked? A lot of questions, basically. A lot of questions. Whether you drink, whether you smoke, do you exercise? Just general health questions that might affect the baby. So I forgot to say, actually, the midwife's appointment that will be booked will generally take about an hour. Mine took about an hour. I booked it during work, so I didn't realise it was going to be so long. I thought it was going to be like half an hour, but it was a full hour appointment, just because there are so many questions that you'll get asked. One of the very first things that you'll be given in your first midwife appointment is this. This is your maternity notes. This is just a folder with all of the tests that you have to take. All of your results will go in here. There's also some guidelines on just what to look out for, any information. You'll get quite a lot of leaflets along the way. You'll get a few to start. I think I got a little pregnancy diary thing and stuff. And then as you go along, they'll add more and more leaflets. So you just store all these in here. Your scan will go in here. This is like your pregnancy Bible. And my midwife said to me when she gave it to me, this needs to go everywhere that you go. It'll give all the results of your tests, which will be in here, which means if there ever is an emergency, then all the doctor has to do, if you're somewhere, it's not your normal doctor, it's not your normal hospital, then all they have to do is refer to these, and they can see immediately what blood type you are, if you've got any diseases, if you've got any allergies. Also in here will be if you're a smoker, things like that. All the answers to the questions you're giving the midwife will go directly in your notes, and there's only one copy of this, so you really need to take care of these notes. I went on holiday and obviously I didn't really want to take my maternity notes with me. I only took hand luggage, so I thought, I'm not taking this big file, and I was really early days, so I thought I'm not going to need my notes. Luckily for me, there was no medical emergencies, so I didn't need my notes while I was on holiday, but they did move the date of my first scan to literally 2 hours after I landed at the airport. And I was landing at Liverpool airport and my scan was in Leeds. So we raced against time to get there, got there by the skin of our teeth, but obviously I didn't have time to go home and get my notes, and I did get told off. So my advice is keep them in your car, keep them just somewhere easily accessible at all times. If you're going out of your city, then you need to take them with you. So as I say, in your pregnancy notes, they will keep a record of all your test results, and one of the tests that you have to take on your first midwife appointment is a blood test. I'm not sure how much blood they take because I didn't look. I'm not scared of blood tests and they don't hurt, but I don't really like to watch. Pete is Pete is squeamish and he doesn't like them, so he was sat right next to me. I'm surprised he didn't faint. But I think they took 2 little vials of blood, and they just get sent off from your first appointment, and they get tested for the presence of antibodies, any underlying illnesses that you might not know you have, any nasties that you just are unaware of, obviously. So anything like HIV and things like that, or other more minor illnesses that may affect the baby. Also, they will check for blood type. I didn't know my blood type before I went in there. I think most people don't know their blood type, but there are certain blood types that can not cause problems, but they can not react well with pregnancy. So all they have to do is monitor it. It's nothing to worry about at all. But yeah, they'll test your blood type, so that'll go in there. and just, I think they test also your iron levels and whether you're anemic or not. Also, another test you'll have to do is a urine test, so be prepared to wee in a bottle, which I was not prepared to do and I find really difficult, but maybe at your GP appointment you can ask for a sample bottle then so that you can do it in the comfort of your own home, but I didn't know I'd have to do it, so I had to do it at the doctor's. It was fine though. All they're checking for is presence of infection, signs of infection, because that can affect the baby as well. Basically everything can affect the baby. You've got to keep yourself in tip-top shape in order to keep the baby in tip-top shape. They'll also measure your weight and your height just to make sure that you are not too underweight, too overweight. I was a little bit underweight before I was pregnant, I've mentioned in an earlier video, but I was fine. I was like on the cusp of normal, so it was fine. I wasn't like grossly underweight. So yeah, they just do all those tests, it all gets recorded in your notes. Another nice thing that you will find out at your first midwife appointment, if you know the dates of your last period, is your estimated due date, which is always nice. Mine was about 2 days out when I went for my actual dating scan, which I can talk about in another video. If you want to know about that, then let me know. You will find out more definitely because they actually measure the baby and they know exactly what size everything should be. So you get a more precise date then, but then again, you know, you can go 2 weeks before, you can go 2 weeks after, you can go at any time really into labour. So your due date is just a ballpark figure anyway. But I got my original date and then at the dating scan they put me 2 days before. So that's what they can work out for you, which is always nice and very exciting, so that you can start planning and you know how long you've got to go, how far along you are now. And then you can start really looking at the different stages that you should be experiencing. I've done another little video just on pregnancy favourites, and in that video I talk about what you need at each stage and a few books and apps that can explain to you each different stage and what to expect. So you will find out your due date as well. She'll work that out for you. And then other than that, that's pretty much it. It's an hour-long appointment. It's interesting. She'll also give you plenty of time to ask questions. You know, have a little think before you go along of any questions that are burning in your mind. She'll generally give you some info on what you can and can't eat, things like that, and the do's and don'ts of pregnancy, but it's all pretty much straightforward, common sense. So she'll give you your opportunity to ask questions, and she'll give you some information leaflets to take away as well. And she should tell you what vitamins you should be taking. You should be taking folic acid in the first 12 weeks. Oh, I forgot to mention earlier, if you are speaking to your family, if you don't want to tell them about the baby or the pregnancy until after 12 weeks, I know some people feel that that's a little bit safer. Peter and I only told our immediate family, so parents, and we've both got brothers, so we told our brothers, but we didn't tell any friends and we didn't tell extended family because we just wanted to make sure we were out of that danger zone of the first 12 weeks. So if you don't want to ask them, you can still ask about your family history of health. Just, you know, be a bit creative in how you're going to ask them. So I hope that's answered all of your questions on your first midwife appointment. If you've got any more, feel free to comment below. Or if there's something that happened to you in your first midwife appointment that I haven't mentioned, then please, I'm sure every council's different, every borough's different, every training programme's different. They'll all have the same guidelines, but I'm sure maybe they go into depth or less depth, depending on who they are. So if there's something that I haven't mentioned, then please do write it in the comments below, because I know any new mum watching this is just going to be hungry for information. Peter was laughing at me yesterday saying that I have done every Google search that you could possibly do in pregnancy. So I do pretty much know all my facts now, I hope. Probably not, there's probably loads to know. But so they will be hungry for the information, and I'm sure they'll be scrolling through the comments trying to find out anything before their actual appointment comes. So good luck guys, let me know how your first appointment went, let me know your due date and how far along you are, because I love talking about babies. Obviously when you're pregnant, you are a pregnancy bore, you just want to talk about babies, so you think about. So yeah, let me know all about it in the comments below. If you like this video, then give it a like so that I know to do a few more. I'm hoping this pregnancy series isn't detracting too much from my normal channel. Things will resume normal service, I'm sure. There's obviously going to be a few pregnancy things thrown in, and obviously when the baby is here, maybe some parenting things, but I will be carrying on with my normal videos like reviews and favourites and stuff like that. So if you want to see more of these pregnancy videos, or you want to see more of my beauty tutorials, then just give me a like and subscribe, and I'll keep making videos for you. Bye guys!